Hi, welcome back to another planet log. This is planet log number 12, and in this one, I am making a BTS stage diorama for my shelf. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, the main purpose of this diorama is to sit in my shelf and basically use up a bit more space. I've just put it next to my proof album and also my army bomb. But yeah, just starting off the base, I just used a variety of cardboard cut to the size that I measured out. And really I just used whatever material I had that would fit the right sizes for the base, the back, and the side pieces as well. After I cut them all out, I painted both sides of each piece, like each cardboard piece, black. And then the side panels on one side I painted with purple dots and blended out some purple dots and also some white ones, and this just mimics like light sticks and people using the flashlights during concerts and all that. In the end, when painting the purple dots, I used like 3 different purples, so darker ones, regular like mid-range one, and then a lighter one. So the darker ones were towards the back, and then the mid-range is towards like the middle, and then the lighter ones were towards the front. This just helped to make the illusion that there is like some tiers of seating, because I wouldn't have had enough space to actually make the different sort of seatings on the sides. So yeah. So the next component that I made was the stage pieces. I mentioned in my Planet Log 10 that the stage pieces were inspired by the Wings tour layout, and basically like the base pieces, I used a variety of cardboard, and literally whatever fitted the pieces that I need I would use. So I just measured, then cut and taped together the pieces to make the structures, just so then I can sort of see how everything will fit and make any adjustments if I needed to. Then I glued each piece together with hot glue, and then I painted them. Initially, I wanted the stage to be completely black, but then that sort of blended with the base a bit too much, and so I went with a mid-purple base and sponged on a little bit of black to give it a bit of texture. And yeah, so the layers just made sure that the stage pieces matched the set, but also just stood out a bit more than just blending all together into the base. So the next part I did was the screens for the back of the stage. These were inspired by the yet to come concert in Busan, and basically I just took the idea of having the repeated BTS logo going for the back and back and back. And yeah, each piece was painted black, and then using the Canon mini photo printer that I haven't used for months, I printed 3 photos of BTS on the stage. And so basically I took the brightest one and the more noticeable one for the 2 middle pieces, and then the 3 pieces on either side, I used the less noticeable ones, the ones that like the background's pretty much all black. So the next component I worked on is the hot air balloons. These are from the Wings tour, and they gave me the most problem in construction. So for the actual balloons, the final method I went with was some wire and hot glue. Basically, each balloon had 5 different rings of various sizes. I glued the rings onto a piece of wire and basically shaped it into the hot air balloon sort of shape, and then once 4 of the rings was on, I put in another piece of wire and shaped the other 3 wires to the hot air balloon shapes, and then I added the last ring at the bottom just to make it stand out a bit more. The baskets of the balloons were made with cardboard and hot glue. Everything had a black base coat. The baskets got a purple dry brush, and I used a pink, aqua, purple and yellow dry brush for the actual balloons. And for the strings, I just cut them to size, and when assembling I glued the strings onto the hot air balloons and then onto the basket. So the last component before assembly that I made was the hanging piece. This piece is from the Wings tour, and basically what I did was that I had pieces of acetate cut out to size and shape of what I needed, and I basically used those as sort of a template to curve and cut out the cardboard pieces to size. And just for each of the like teardrop shapes, I had a little piece of cardboard in the middle just to keep the structure. But basically, once everything was cut out and like ready to go, I basically painted the white side of the cardboard purple, and then the bigger acetate pieces in purple as well. This just made sure that no like white was gonna show through the acetate because I wasn't sure how opaque the paint would be. But it actually turned out really well. And so I just hot glued all the pieces together and painted the outside black. So now onto the assembly. So what I did first was I glued the base and the back piece together, and then I sort of marked out where the stage would go, like in relation to each piece and all that. The last two pieces, the diagonal bits and the squares, I glued on last as one unit, just because it would be easier for like ratio and all that. Then after the stage pieces was glued on, I glued on the side panels, and what I did was I put glue at the corners of the side panels and then glue in the middle and held it down quite well. I would say that the side panels were quite curved just because of the paint. The next thing I did was the screen pieces, and basically the back two furthest pieces were glued directly onto the back, and then I brought each piece a little bit out from there. With the pieces with the slanted bottom edge, I had to put a bit of glue on the side edges so then it would stick onto the previous piece, just so then they would stand up well. For each of the hanging pieces, I used some string and skewers. So I attached the string to the top of the hanging pieces and then tied them onto the skewers. The wings tour hanging piece, the flower sort of thing, I had to put two pieces of string just because it's meant to be hanging it like sort of tilted rather than flat, and so the strings were different lengths. Then I glued the skewers all together once everything was positioned, and that way, when putting away or when taking apart the diorama, the complete dioramas into different pieces. So here is the final close-up look of the actual diorama. I think it turned out quite well. I did have to cut the skewers down a little bit just so then it would fit in my shelf, but I really like using the different colors on the hot air balloons, especially since they're sort of like meant to be standing out, and then like everything else having like a purple base or some sort of purple in it. I think that just works out really nice. Um, yeah, the photos I chose for the screens, the middle one is when they did on the concerts, and there was a giant yellow couch. And then the other two is just them bowing at the end. And yeah, here is me just putting it into my shelf. I think it suits really nice in next to the proof album, and then having the army bomb right next to it on the right as well. For my first diorama, I think this turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. I will say I did forget about the permission to dance like cars they would have had in the walkways. But I think they would have taken up too much space and just distracted from the whole diorama. But yeah, I do want to make more of these in the future. It's just that at the moment I should be focusing on getting ready for school. So let me know what you guys think of this diorama down below. Hit the like button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next planet log. Bye.